Day 2 of my trip to the Apostle Islands started with pulling up a large ball of weaves wrapped around my anchor and chain. After a struggle, I eventually got my anchor secured and a muddy deck. The swan, whose spot I stole the night before, is floating nearby and probably very happy to see me leave its lake. My destination today is Beaver Island. Beaver Island is a large island at the top of Lake Michigan, 100 miles away from Arcadia, which I am now leaving. Before I make it to the island, I have a few stops to make along the way. My first stop is to Frankfort, Michigan, after a short 10-mile hop to the north. After entering Frankfort Harbor, you enter a wide basin, which then narrows to a channel entering Betsy Lake. Off to the left is a wide sandy beach. There's also a way to get to the breakwall and walk all the way out to the lighthouse. The beach and lighthouse are very popular, watching the sunset over Lake Michigan. This area is very popular with boaters. There are quite a lot of small fishing boats, always zipping around, as well as quite a few larger cruising boats. Frankfort is a small but seemingly well-off town with a population of about 1,200 people. They have several marinas, one of which is a municipal marina. There are 2 fuel docks, there's a day dock, and a well-protected anchorage you see right in front of us. Within walking distance of the marinas in town, there is a hardware store, a grocery store, a bakery, many ice cream shops, and an assortment of different clothing and souvenir shops. Luckily for the anchorage in Betsy Lake, the entire lake is a slow no-wake zone. After exiting the channel, I called Jacobson's Marina on the VHF and asked for somebody to meet me up at the fuel dock. They are my preferred fuel dock in Frankfort because it is an easy pull-through, and it is located in front of this blue building to the left. The municipal fuel dock is directly ahead along the shore on a pier that juts directly out from the shore, so when you pull in there it's a little less convenient because you have to back out afterwards. The last time I was staying in Frankfort, I discovered they have a nice bike path that goes from the marinas all the way around Betsy Lake and then cuts inland to a place called Crystal Lake. The path itself is very well maintained and goes through some interesting forested areas. After a fast stop at the fuel dock, topping off the tank, I headed directly back onto Lake Michigan, which was an absolutely beautiful day with very little waves and wind. The red-roofed building is a Coast Guard station, which has got to be one of the nicer ones to be stationed at on the lake. After leaving the Frankfort harbor, I turned north and then northeast to head on my way back to Beaver Island. However, on the way, I was treated to a beautiful view of the Sleeping Bear Dunes. The lake was in a calm state today, so I decided to just drift a bit and enjoy the view. This section of the dunes extends about 5 miles along the shoreline. Visitors to the national park will find it easy to get down the dunes to the lake, but rather difficult to climb back up. I'm told it can take several hours. My boat cruises at about 30 miles an hour. It is great for most instances, getting across the lake safely, hitting weather windows, but sometimes I do have to remind myself to slow down and enjoy the view every now and then. The great thing about having a fast boat is you can always slow it down. The wind and waves rarely cooperate enough for me to get my drone out and fly while moving. However, today it was so perfect that it was an easy thing to do. My main concern when flying a drone while I'm out on the water is not so much the flying part, but getting it back safely. There's not a lot of wide areas to land a drone on my boat. I usually have to reach out and grab it in the air in order to bring it back in. And I've clipped my fingers quite a few times doing that. However, I'm usually rewarded with shots such as this. unfortunately, this is the last footage I have of today, simply because I forgot to turn the camera back on when I reached Beaver Island. I do have quite a lot more to go on this 1,500-mile round trip to the Apostle Islands on Lake Superior and back. And if you'd like to see that, please subscribe. And I'll see you on the next Great Lake.